Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the podcast for the Open Line Garden Show for this week. Now, a lot of people are seeing the results of a lot of salt damage on their lawns as well as many of their trees and shrubs. We've had a very cold, snowy winter with a lot of salt and sand use on both roads, driveways, and sidewalks. So I thought I'd give you a little update on some of the plants that you can use with their relative tolerance to salt. So let's start with low salt tolerance. These are the plants that are susceptible as opposed to being the tough ones that will put up with it. And of course, we know that we're looking at the firs. The firs won't tolerate it. Acer negundo, which is Manitoba maple, which we all thought that, there nothing could kill, has a very low tolerance to salt. Of course, Acer pseudoplatanus, and there's quite a few varieties being offered on this one, and many different ones have a low salt tolerance. All your Amulanchier is, of course, very low salt tolerant. So there's another one that you see a lot of people planting that will not tolerate it. Carpinus, which is hornbeams, and so Celtis is another one. Cyrus canadensis, the red bud, does not take salt very well at all. And here's another surprise, the Crataegus, which is hawthorns, which basically nothing attacks, and if it does attack, it seems to tolerate and put up with it. It ends up being more of a vector tree than actually dying from anything. But here's one that actually has an extremely low tolerance to salt. All your beech trees have a low salt tolerance. Ginkgo biloba, the maidenhair tree, liquid ambar, Lyrhodendron tulipifera, which is everybody grows it like it's a weed. It grows fast, it goes quick, it gets big. So you're going to put it in a wide open area away from your house on large properties. Fine, but if it's near a driveway or etc., where the roads are going to be with salt, no, absolutely not. Some of the Morris species. Now, that's all your Morris is not a good one for here. Morris being either white, red, or even the nice dark black ones. The Picea glauca, which is white spruce, doesn't like it. Pine. There's a few pines that don't do well. Strobus, which is your Ontario tree, which is white pine. Pinus sylvestris, Platanus occidentalis does not do well. Salix albatristis, that's the yellow willow. Okay. Thuya occidentalis, the cedars, we all know they burn really badly, as well, so does hemlock. In shrubs, all your cornus are not good. Even one of the ones that are tough and bloom so early, Chenomeles speciosa, does not tolerate it at all. Quocutia, beauty bush, ligustrum, privet, believe it or not, is one of the ones that does not like salt. Roses don't like salt. Some of the Sambucus, which I do not do well with those. The spireas, a lot of the spireas also do not do well there. Now, if you need something that has a little bit of moderate salt tolerance, then what you're going to do is you're going to plant some of these trees. Red maple, sugar maple, silver maple. You're going to find the birches, okay? Though they have other issues, will actually have a moderate salt tolerance. Catalpa, same thing. Walnuts, no problem. It's a moderate salt tolerance. Picea abies, which is your spruce, will do quite well. Not fantastic, but quite well. Some of your Prunus serratinas will tolerate a little bit of salt. Tilia americana, that's basswood, and some of your American elm. In shrubs, Acer janella, which is basically being used quite extensively as a small tree for smaller spaces. Doesn't really look like a typical maple, but it is. Of course, we know that boxwood will burn if there's a lot of wind, sun, and salt, but it is rated as moderate for salt. Forsythia is only moderate for salt, and of course your mock oranges. One of the ones that surprised me was your Rus glabra, which is staghorn sumac. And some of those ones are not good. Was not surprised by pyracantha or firethorn. Too many things do take this one. Not a lot of people grow this one. But I have seen one of the most spectacular hedges in my neighborhood behind a white picket fence. And it's been there for 30 years and doing extremely well. But so has the privet. So in the same conditions, with a moderate tolerance to salt, with a little bit of protection from a picket fence, that these two actually have done very well. Moderate salt tolerance goes to the Japanese yews, Viburnum opulus and Viburnum trilobum. These are high bush cranberry and the slightly edible one, the trilobum. Not my favorite cranberry sauce. Okay, I prefer the real thing. All of those will take moderate salt tolerance, or small, or should I say moderate tolerance to salt. If you're looking for things that are really tough for salt tolerance, we're looking at Acer platanoides, your horse chestnuts, Ailanthus, the tree of heaven, Caria ovata, which I thought was more of a native tree for the woods, seems to be very tolerant. Gladitsia, we know this one because the Shademaster and the golden locust are used as street trees. Larix, the native one, is interesting in the fact that it's deciduous, and even though it's a deciduous conifer, it is actually has high salt tolerance. Poplars, that shouldn't surprise us at all. Both Elba, deltoides, grandidentata, and tremuloides, they all have high tolerance to salt. Some of the pears, oak. There's a whole slew of oak trees that have a high tolerance to salt, such as Quercus elba, Quercus macrocarpa, Quercus prenus, and Quercus robar, and Quercus rubra. Okay, Robinia, that's the black walnut. I'm sorry, that's the black Robinia, the black locust. Is very, very tough, and some people really want to use that one more as a street tree, but not my favorite tree under any circumstances. Some of the sorbus, which is the mountain ash, but I've seen mountain ash being taken out more and more by fire blight, so I don't think you'd probably want to plant that one. And of course, some of the Chinese elm. So there's some of the plants that are tolerant to salt, and some of the ones that are actually quite resistant to salt as well. So there you go. Take a look. See what you can do. And if you're looking for shrubs that would tolerate it, because a lot of our smaller homes will use more shrubs than trees, you might want to look at Spirea van Houtai, snowberry, lilacs, the Rus typhina, Pinus mugo, that's mugo pine. The honeysuckles, I have a problem with some of them. Juniper, Euonymus alata, the burning bush. And, of course, Carragena. It's definitely one of the ones that I would say you want to put in, because you can put in the top grafted ones and that's so really quite pretty. You can do some nice landscaping with some of these plant materials, particularly those of high salt tolerance, and still have a nice permanent backbone to your garden. It doesn't mean you don't add annuals. It doesn't mean you don't go and add some perennials in there. But these are the ones that'll give you a good, strong, solid backbone to your garden. Plants with salt tolerance. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.